Hotel Uncle Jasaneb, welcome to another live broadcast of Adults Only. You are with your host, Jahi, your big brother, and also our reporter, Brother Chaz. He's here today as well. So before we get started into anything, this broadcast can be seen every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we talk about various subjects. And the reason why we entitle it Adults Only is because we talk about subjects that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but adults need to talk about it. This broadcast is for children as well, but we just entitle it Adults Only because it's now time for us adults to have these serious discussions. What's happening, Chaz?
I'm doing all right yourself. I want to say and give a shout out to those two sisters last week, Sister Ra, Sister Marie. They did a fantastic job on your broadcast last week. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, okay. She's already firing away. Moody Watch. She said hotel family. So it's really good to have these kinds of discussions and to have people that come on from all walks of life to share with us the truths about living. And life should have taught us something by now, Chaz. We've been living for a while now, and you would think that we would have more to say about what life has taught us. But unfortunately, many of us, we don't like to discuss the serious issues that we face.
Right.
Meaning, tonight we're going to continue part two to the disrespect to our elders. Now, before we jump into it, why do you think we need to keep talking about this subject, man?
Because it's very important, and a lot of our elders feel like they're basically a piece of garbage, and we need to make sure that they feel comfort and make sure that they feel loved as well.
That's good. Well, let's jump into this thing, man. You know how we normally do it, so we might as well get started by putting up a fact. Here's a fact. Many of us, especially some of our young people, we disrespect our elders. And the thing that we need to look at is why are we doing that? Now, we're going to dive deep into the different types of respect in a few minutes because most of us don't know the different types of disrespect, I should say. So let's talk about why I say, especially some of our young people, why are they the ones that are the culprits for the most part?
Like I said, they feel like since they're old and some call them outdated and feel like they've
Mhm.
already faced the best part of their life in society. And they feel like now, since they're pretty much helpless, they feel like nobody should respect them. We should tease them, make fun of them, and
Wow.
especially poke fun at their health conditions, especially because most of them have
Mhm.
like dementia, Alzheimer's, and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
we think that we should make fun of them, which is totally not funny at all.
And that's why we're here tonight to straighten that up and to give out some encouragement so that we can see that there are some things that we can do as a society to help those who are older, our elders, our senior citizens, because many of us don't realize that there are different types of examples of disrespect. You know, the behavior that we show, a lot of it is verbal and some of it is nonverbal. For example, we talk about swearing at the elderly or glaring at them. You know, it can be an aggressive or a passive act. For example, invading a person's space or ignoring their input at a meeting. But let's talk
Mm.
about some of these types of disrespect as I'll put it up on the screen here now, because there are many types of rude behavior, Chad. And
Right.
again, I think we need to also talk about how we should be accountable to one another. I
Yes.
should be accountable to you, how I talk and treat the elderly, and you should be accountable to me. But why is it, before we get into the different types, I want your take on this. Why is it that the accountability, a lot of us don't like to talk about it, but yet we see it going on? So, in other words, why don't we become accountable to one another as to how we're doing as a society when it comes to our elderly?
I think the easiest route is to not say anything because a lot of people feel like the older people that do get disrespected, it's so easy to make fun, make jokes and make fun of them. And we should pull a person to the side, not embarrass them in public, but pull them to the side and say, you know what, brother, that wasn't cool. So
Yeah.
for some reason, I just feel like we lack accountability because it's the easiest thing to do. Nobody wants to be a man or a woman and acknowledge they're wrong and say, you know what, I was wrong.
Mhm.
They rather just ignore it, act like it didn't happen, and keep on going with their day.
And the brother Ray says respect gets respect, or at least it should. And our ancestors should get respect. They've been around for a long time. We were taught by our parents and grandparents there are certain things that we do and shouldn't do around elders. But a lot of times we throw those little things that we've been taught to the curb. And it's because a lot of us don't respect our elders because we don't respect ourselves. You see? And since we don't respect ourselves, it's difficult to respect those who have gone on before us, or to those who have paved the way, to those who have knowledge and insight and wisdom. But let's dive into these many types of disrespect, brother. The first one I want to talk about is verbal disrespect. I know you have something to say about that. You know,
man,
go ahead with that, Chess. Tell me.
Now that we could spend a whole broadcast on that. The cussing, the shouting, the degrading them as if they're a little kid. I mean, this stuff is ridiculous. And once again, you'll be surprised if you go to YouTube, TikTok, all these apps, and just type in, you know, verbal disrespect to elders. It'll make you want to cry. How are some people are standing? Listen, brother, standing over our elders, cussing at them, and it's like we've lost it. Cussing at an elder. Picture this: a man that's 6'2", 6'3", standing over a 5'6" or 5'7" lady, just yelling obscenities, threatening them, violence being poked at them. I mean, brother, that right there, that's terrible. We could spend a whole broadcast on that.
Yeah, that verbal disrespect. You know, we could talk about how we constantly interrupt some of our seniors. That's disrespect. We don't even give them an opportunity to talk, or like you just mentioned, raising our voices at them. You know, that's we should never scream or holler at an adult out of respect. And I think a lot of us don't want to look in the mirror at how we are and how we act, because many of us are guilty. And I'm not going to sit on a pedestal tonight and act as if I have never done it myself, because life is a process. It's a journey. And I know when I was younger, I was very ignorant. I was very stupid because I would disrespect my elders based upon my silly mindset. And so we must talk about how the outburst, the angry outburst, cursing an elder out. Can you imagine that? Calling them bees and that kind of thing?
Man. And I want to take put myself in accountability. I've been like that too, being with friends, you know, we in a grocery store and, you know, just making fun of them. And when you're young and you don't know any better, okay, you should do better, but when you don't know any better, then that's what happens. But like you said, some of the things that they go through with the verbal disrespect, it's awful. It is terrible, man.
Talking under our breath when the elders say something or the seniors say something, we have to have the last word, or as you said, shouting, and the vulgarity. Chaz, back in the day, you couldn't use vulgarity around the elders. But nowadays, you hear people using vulgarity and just throwing it flippantly out as if, you know, it's nothing. And it's like we have gone down as a society. Discuss that, because the verbal disrespect to our seniors, that's problematic. And a lot of people don't want to look at it. Go ahead, brother.
Brother, don't let them be a CVS, Walgreens, Walmart, and they, you know, have a delayed response, or they have dementia, and they'll ask the clerk behind the CVS counter, ma'am, where is you guys' magazine aisle? Just because they ask, brother, a basic question is that the customer service rep or the cashier lady, she, you know, rolls her eyes or look, or sometimes they'll even be on their cell phone, won't even acknowledge the elder. And it's, brother, I've seen a lot at CVS where that happens, and I kind of shake my head and feel bad for them, because it's like, you clearly heard this woman asking for help, and you just clearly ignore this woman or man like that. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, and don't just watch this broadcast tonight for the part that we're talking about how we need to do a better job, because later on in the broadcast, we're going to give all of us helpful tips, because we already know how to treat our elders. We know how to treat our seniors. So we're not telling you anything you don't know, because your mama more than likely raised you right. My
Right.
mama, your daddy, your granddaddy, they've raised us right, but we don't do it because we've allowed some things to get us like this. And this is why we don't get many comments. This is why we don't get many people looking and chiming in saying we have to do a better job, because a lot of us like to take up for us when we do things wrong. Instead of chastising us and challenging us, we cape for each other when we do these silly things about laughing and mocking them. That's verbal disrespect. Now, we're going to continue to talk about this, Chaz, but we're going to jump to the next aspect of the disrespect. There's nonverbal disrespect. Staring. If an elder tells us something, we cut our eyes at them. We cut our eyes at them. And that is so disrespectful. Now, Chaz dropped off. I don't know, something must have happened to our connection, but I'm sure he'll come back in here. But how we non-verbally disrespect our elders, how many of us, we stare, we roll our eyes at them. I mean, we glare at them. Some of us even go as far as making the sighs like, when an elder says something to us, we sigh, and that's not a good thing, y'all. And so all we're saying tonight is that we as a community, we must do much better. All of us must do better, because all of us are in the same boat. We not only sigh, we make faces and rude gestures. You know, Chaz, can you imagine this? Giving an elder the finger. Can you imagine?
Oh, brother.
Okay, go ahead and take that away, please.
That happens more rapidly than you think.
No, I don't think it does. It does?
All you have to do is be in a vehicle, just going about your business, go to the store, drop your kids off at school. There'll be an older man or woman driving on the highway going 30 miles an hour.
Okay.
You'll be shocked. The car that is behind them or on the side of them will speed up. Listen, they will put their foot on the pedal, speed up to the window, give them the double bird, yell.
Come on, Chaz. Come on, man.
Brother, I see this a lot, and when I see it, it happens at a rapid rate, and these people don't even, they'll do it and not even think twice about it.
Someone says, a beautiful empress says, remember, those are our parents and grandparents, and one day we're going to be in the same situation. She says, so we have to check ourselves. That's beautiful. Then another queen says, what makes it so bad is when the elder or loved one has transitioned on. The person who was so disrespectful to that loved one will be the first one to sling snot and cry all over the casket. Now, these sisters tonight and brothers, they're spitting a lot of truth, because that's what this broadcast is about. This is a broadcast of truth. And so we must all join in, because we're all guilty. And it's a disgrace. I'll just put it that way. It's a disgrace how many of us hide behind our cell phones and won't say anything about the way we as a society are treating our elders, our seniors. The brother says, me personally, I will come at you disrespecting an elder around me. See, this is good. He says, I'm going to come at you if you disrespect an elder. What happened to those days, brother? What happened to those days?
I think, like I said, the older I get, the more I'm starting to realize it feels like back in the day, there were more solid men and women. There were more real people back then that stood for something. When this social media stuff popped off, brother, that's when everybody's morals, values, the way they thought, everything went down the toilet.
The disdain that we have for the elders, the contempt, all of the rudeness that we have. What about this one, brother? This is another one we need to talk about. This is the dismissive disrespect to our seniors. Someone may say, what do you mean? See, we're getting down today. We're getting deep into this. When we first did it the week before last, we kind of touched the surface. Now we're going to go as deep as we can, because a lot of us don't want to hear this, but we must say this for all of our sake. Dismissive disrespect to our seniors are things like ignoring a senior, ignoring them like they're not even there when they're trying to talk to you. This is what happens. Ignoring a question that a senior asks you. See, that's dismissing them, man. Dismissing them. And the thing of it is you must tell me this, because we both have questions for each other. And that's what I like about this broadcast is we challenge each other. But I have to ask you this question. Why do we dismiss those who we say mean so much to us? And I'm not talking about just our immediate family, those who are older. I'm talking about those who are older in general. Why do we dismiss them as a community for the most part?
Because, brother, I'll show you two things.
Okay.
The first thing is because of this right here. These
Okay.
cell phones. We're so wrapped up in our own little mind, our own little world. We feel like our phone means more. And then the second and last but not least, another reason why we're so dismissive is because we have a short attention span, okay? We feel like if somebody inconveniences us a little bit or gets on our nerves a little bit, we treat them like a fly on the wall. We just want to shoo them away so we can keep going about our day. So I think it really in the root of the issue is that we don't have any respect for these people. That's just how it is. I just have to say that. We don't have any respect for them.
But we talk about unity. We talk about being together. We talk about all that stuff. We talk about being conscious. We talk about being spiritual. And you're telling me that we don't, Chaz?
We don't, brother. And I think deep down in your heart, I think you know this as well.
Yeah.
If they're not someone with big influence or with a lot of money, we're going to always toss them to the side. And like I said, it's so sad, brother, when you know that these old elders have critical conditions such as dementia, Alzheimer's, and some of them, brother, you can see them at Walmart barely getting out their car on a cane, slumped over.
Okay.
They could barely even look up because their backs are so bent over.
Okay.
And you mean to tell me you don't have enough heart to say, I see this man or woman that's messed up, let me help them, but no, I add to the problem. I cuss them out. I mean, brother, that's low. That's low.
This is needed. This is called Adults Only, y'all. And I'm glad those who are watching are hanging in there with us, because a lot of people jump on, and when they see the subject matter, they jump off. And these are some of the very people who have no respect, as Brother Ray says, for themselves or for the community or for our seniors. And Chaz, what about never going to visit them in the rehabilitation center and nursing home? I know you can talk about that.
I'm big guilty of that.
That's dismissive as well.
I'm guilty of that. And I know the common factor everybody would like to say is, oh, it stinks in there. And, oh, did you smell that place? Listen, let's not act like we've not smelled the number 2 or urine or, we've all smelled that. In fact, when we were babies, our parents changed us a lot. So let's get over that. But the fact that we can't go in a nursing home for 5 to 10 minutes and say, ma'am, Steve, Craig, I don't know you. I know you don't have relatives. You may not never see me again, but I'm just here to give you support. That's all.
Yeah,
we won't do that. We won't. Yeah. We refuse to do it, and I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah, we all are guilty. But this brother says, I always honor the elders. He says, I learned a lot from them, and that's the right attitude to have. And I want to add to that, Chaz, because when you really think about it, most of us, we're going to go back to what you said earlier. We do not care the way we say we do about the elders. Now, I'm going to say this, and I always bring this up because I really want your feedback on this, because many of us, we go to churches, and I don't care what ministry we are a part of. Yeah. We go to the mosque, and I don't care what mosque or temple. I don't care of the African Hebrews. I don't care of the spirituality. I don't care of all of these religions that we go to, Jainism, even Mormonism, Buddhism, all these religions we go to, and every one of them, I know for a fact, they teach us to honor the elderly. Right. But in our society, in our community, we do just the opposite. But every week we go to these places, brother, and we want people to think that we are so in tune with them, and yet we treat them like a piece of toilet paper, and we throw them away. And I just need to know, why do we neglect them? Even our neighbors, those of us who know that we have elderly neighbors, we know they live alone. Yeah. We know they have no one to care for them. And do you think we would grace the next door to knock on the door, to talk to them? We're going to talk about things we can do, but why are we so hypocritical is what I guess I need to ask you.
Can I sidestep that and go back to one of your questions? Okay. Sure. The church, like you just mentioned, a lot, and I feel, and this is a positive what I'm about to say, I think a lot of elders get a lot of respect at their churches, their local churches. They've been there for 20, 30, 40 years. They sung in the choir. They on the praise team. They do Bible study there. And one thing I will say, now we can debate about the religion or whatever. The point that I'm proving is A sister named Shirley has been to a certain church for 25 years. And boy, you should see her when she gets out of that car. She's strutting. She's got a little hat on. At least they feel, and I think that's why they're addicted, because they feel somewhat of importance there. They get a lot of respect from the youth. And heck, there are some churches that I saw and I've heard, if you disrespect this man or woman in their church, you got some consequences. So one thing I will say about the church is that in most of them, the black ones, I'll say,
okay,
they love their elders for the most part, I would say.
You know, because then when I want to add to that, because there used to be a time where the church members would go visit the elderly. They called it Masik and the shut-in. They would go to them and sing songs and just, you know, make sure they were okay. Now, a lot of them, they've stopped that. Preachers, they don't do that much anymore. You know, when you see it now, it's odd, because that was something. And then all of these other people who are supposed to be spiritual, all these people that's supposed to be Islamic, all these people that's supposed to be Christians and all these other religions, they have not, and I will say we have not gotten out of our comfort zone to even go to these places. And that's my problem with us. And I'm talking about myself included, lest you think that I'm putting myself on a pedestal, because a lot of us don't want to deal with what I'm going to put up now. And I'm going to let you take it away, because I know for a fact this is going to rub you the wrong way. So I might as well put it up now. And here it is. Aggressive disrespect, beating, whooping.
Oh no. Come on, brother.
Well, let's be honest, because there are a lot of people that are aggressively harming our elderly, and these people, many of us, we don't want to talk about it, brother. We don't want to talk about it, Chaz.
I just thought about this, and this is very frustrating what I'm about to say. There's caregiver jobs that a lot of people get, and I'm not knocking that position, but you know, when you sign up for that job, these elders are going to poop on themselves, urinate on themselves, vomit, probably spit in your car. Listen, brother, you'll be shocked, and people that are listening to this know what I'm saying is true. They have installed secret cameras in these elders' homes. Brother, I seen, and you've seen this too, videos of an old woman just asking for a cup of water. And the caregiver in these homes with a secret camera, like you just mentioned, are beating them, whipping them, spitting at them. I mean, brother, those cameras, and I'm glad whoever thought of that to install those cameras in those homes, brother, you see some of everything, how the way they get treated at home in those secret cameras.
I can't say what I want to say on this broadcast when I look at this being aggressive and disrespecting my elders. Because if I could say what I want to say, I'm going to start it, and everyone that knows language, you take it from me. Those of us who do that, you and I, if you're engaging in that, you and I are a rotten son of a gun. Replace that last word and put the word that's supposed to be there. We are rotten to the core to put our hands on, to shove an elder, to throw objects at an elder, to have a temper tantrum on an elder, threats of physical violence about what we will do to them, to bully them, to intimidate them. And most of us that's watching this broadcast, we ought to be ashamed of ourselves, because many of us, we can talk all we want to talk, but when you look at our own lives, it's abusive for us not even to be involved more in their lives, as we're going to talk about later on what we can do. So we sit around and throw stones, but brother, we're just as guilty,
Can I ask you something real quick?
Sure.
On those caregiver jobs, if you were owner or you made the law, what do you think should happen to those people? Besides just, because all they're going to do is probably just fire the person and say, you're not allowed back on this property.
You're right.
What do you think should be done to those caregiver people who are caught on camera red-handed treating those elders like that?
Okay, I'm going to give you the two answers. One of them is the legal thing we should do. The other one is the thing I want us to do. The legal answer is that person should be prosecuted to the highest. That should be a crime beyond measure. The second way, which I would say, is we should beat the out of the person that
come on, brother.
No, we should do that, Chaz, because this is the lowest thing that one can do, is to mess with a kid, and to mess with an elder. See, we don't want to have these discussions. See, we think it's cute to mess with a kid. I don't want to get on that. That's another subject in another broadcast. And to mess with an elder. And see, a lot of us don't want to talk like this because we're scared, Chaz. We're scared. We're very scared. A brother says this: I have always valued the elders and their wise counseling of me. And he knows something, because those are the ones who look out for you. Whether you believe in prayer or not, I don't care. But those are the ones that pray for you. Those are the ones that send up offerings for you in spirituality. Those are the ones who always have us on their minds. We have stooped to an all-time low, and I think it's time for us to come clean. We got to come clean. And having said that, these aggressive acts, what about sisters and brothers who won't even go next door and cook for that person? You know they can't cook. You know, or us men. I'm gonna let you take it away after this. What about us men who know these ladies and men that are elderly? They can't cut their grass, so they pay people to come and cut their grass when you and I are sitting right next door, and we see that truck out there. We never tell them they don't ever have to cut your grass again because you don't have the money. I'm gonna cut it. I'm going to maintenance your grass. We are a sorry sack of you know what. So go ahead, because I done got on this thing and I shouldn't be this way, but go ahead, man.
Brother, like you just mentioned, we're not, especially if we next door, we're not going to do anything unless that elder or that neighbor pays us. We feel like, since we have, and this is how we think, we feel like because we're taking time out of our little day to inconvenience us for a little bit, you better pay me. And if you don't pay me, and with the grass part as well,
what?
Listen, people wouldn't care if the grass grew tall, if it grew over the house.
Come on, man. Come on, Chad.
People would not cut that grass unless, and listen, the elders on a fixed income, they don't have a lot of money. We are not going to help our neighbor unless there's money, food stamps, liquor, blunts.
Right.
As long as we get that, we'll do it. If we don't do it, we won't do it.
I still believe that we have stooped to an all-time low right now. As a people, as a society, as a nation, as a world. When we start treating our elders the way we do, the elderly, and a lot of us, we don't even think about them until we have broadcasts like this. See, it takes people like us and others to wind up a person to do something nice for one day, and then we go back in our little cave and don't come out again. What about passive disrespect? I told you we were going to get deep tonight, and we're not going to get off this broadcast till we get through past all of our points. So you might as well just lock yourself in, because we want to talk about this. We don't want to rush about it. But the passive disrespect, that means acts of gossiping behind their backs.
Oh, wow.
What do you know about that?
Don't let them, like I said, be at a family cooking or get together and we're sitting around and, we're whispering, Brother Ryan has dementia. Look at him.
Yeah.
Okay. It's that kind of stuff. So it's not always the text messaging. Sometimes all it takes is a crowd, or maybe just one or two people at a family get together, and we're just, side talking them, and it's pathetic. It's sickening.
And you see, the people that's watching this, we love you, and we hope you love us as well. But see, these are the types of discussions that a lot of us just like to sit back and listen to, because our own children. Let's talk now, Chaz. Let's talk. Okay. Some of our own children are disrespectful to the parents and the grandparents. And we won't say anything about that, you see. Yes. And so we want to hide behind these cell phones. Listen, I want to be candid right now.
Come on.
I want to be very, very open. In my own family, there's a case of one of my relatives fighting someone else in my family that's older. That's older. And I wish I could have gotten my hands on them at that time. But no, I'm serious, man. This is something that people have to see. See, when we don't care for these older people, when we tease them and we talk about them and we gossip and we make jokes and we pay people to make jokes about them, that shows we are a sick society, brother. And that's all I'm trying to say. We got to stop that. We got to cut it out. All of us got to cut that out, because a lot of us, we just don't, we don't see that this is, Ray calls it passive, aggressive cowardice or cowardness. That's what it is. A coward. You want to fight somebody older 3 times your age or push them around. but I won't fight no one my age because I know I get knocked out. See, this is what it's all about. And people know this too. So let's continue to talk. Let's continue to talk about when did we lose our concern for the elderly. Now, and I want to give you something. You can say what you have to say, but I'm going to show you a few things and you can chime in. But that's just something I want you to just touch on. Then I'm going to give you 3 things that we know is the reason. So when, Chaz, when did we lose concern for our elderly?
I told you earlier in the broadcast, brother, I think we lost concern when social media took off. I want to say anywhere in the year between 2015 and up was, to me, because I've witnessed it. I think it's from the year 2015 and up. That's when social media and all these apps really took off. Anytime where you can get a app and create memes out of an elder or, joke at them. To me, that's when it took off. When social media took off, that's when our disrespect happened.
And I want to deviate for a second, but I'm just thinking back in the day, and everybody says, "Well, we're not back in the day." Well, we need to be when it comes to how we treat our elderly, because my grandmother, my mother, my father, my uncles, my aunts, their lifestyles weren't always on the up and up. Mm-hmm. But there was one thing that you didn't do. You did not talk back to an elder person or elderly. You did not disrespect them, because you get a knot upside your head the size of a golf ball. and nowadays, these parents, many of us, we think it's cute, Chaz, when these people cuss an elder. See, this is something that we don't want. We're so, like Ray said, we have a lot of cowards. We need to step up to the plate because it's already bad. But here's when we stop showing compassion towards them. That's when it happened. When we stop showing compassion, like you said, helping older people do things, helping them when we know they can't do. We've stopped that. Now it's each man or each woman to himself.
Brother, can I ask you just real quick? If you could put a year on it, like I said, to me, I think it's 2015. What year would you say where you seen an uptick in the disrespect?
I would say it's been at least maybe about 30 to 40 years ago, when those elderly that were older knew how to treat people. And now you have a lot of younger people having babies. And I'm not against all that. So don't you comment on this broadcast about people having babies. Don't do it. I'll shut you down. I'll block you. What I'm saying is this: when the younger generation start having babies, they didn't know themselves because some of them weren't taught. And that's because the parents want to be their children's friends. Mm-hmm. So they allow their children to teach or treat these elderly and senior citizens any kind of way without any repercussion. So I would say, back to answer your question, at least 30 to 40 years ago, when the new generation came on the scene and started having babies earlier, not all of them, but many of them. So that's what I'm talking about. A brother says, he says in the 90s. So we're all right. He says in the 90s. Then he also says basic manhood requires is to protect. Now, that's something we forgot to talk about. He says manhood requires us to protect and defend the children, the women, and the elderly. That's the best thing this brother has ever said. Brother Ray been on this broadcast many weeks. That's the best thing he's ever said right there.
He's always so spot on, and I'm not taking a shot at him. This is just the way we see it in society. But he is absolutely right with that comment. We should be protecting them, but brother, you know as well as I know, and this is no knock at Brother Ray, so don't think I'm talking to you, Ray. This is just a general statement. People only care when it's theirs. If it's their daughter, if it's their son, or their grandfather, their grandmother, we want a revolution. But if it's just an average Joe or somebody you see in the store, they're not going to defend them. So once again, if it's not, I hate hearing that, brother.
What's that?
Hate when something as serious as that, people say, "Oh, I don't care, it ain't mine." I just want to jump out of my skin when I hear that.
Wow. Here's another reason. We stop loving and showing concern for them when we stop valuing their worth. You touched on that. Most of us are some of the biggest hypocrites, because we all talk about how our books that we read and all the things we get into, how it talks about how the elderly are a prize. The getting old is a valuable thing. but then we don't treat them like that. See, we don't treat them like that. So we stop valuing their worth. And so now to us, a lot of these entertainers, especially these comedians, they make their money getting on stage and talking about the elderly, and we buy the tickets and we sit there and hold our stomachs laughing. And so that devalues their worth. And then most of us look at them as if they're nothing. And so when people get old, we see them as just castaways or throw-offs. And this is why we don't value their worth. But their worth, they are so important to us, but no one wants to talk about that because we're too busy trying to get material things, trying to get a man, trying to get a woman, trying to get some drink, trying to get some drugs, you know. And so this is why we stop valuing their worth, man.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. And the fact of it is like someone mentioned on this broadcast earlier, we're all, including myself, I'm going to get old one day. I wouldn't want to be treated like that. So this is just the basic principle. And this is so basic. Treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, and how could we do this? How could we do this? And just act as if nothing is. This is a problem in our communities, in our families. It's a problem. But people drop off the broadcast because they don't want to hear the truth. But yet they run to this church, they run to these buildings, and people lie to them sometimes. And yet they don't want to hear the truth, because if you really look at the truth, you know, we have to look at how we're treating these people, and it's not good. It's not good for the most part. Now, there are many people that are. So again, don't message us talking about, I know people that treat people, the elderly, well. We're not talking about them. We're talking about those of us and those in your family and my family who you know are not treating the elderly the way they should. Now, here's another thing we want to talk about. You mentioned this. We went wrong when we allowed the media to turn our minds toward everything else but the elderly. Our houses. Many of us love our homes, and we should. We love our cars. We love our clothes. Here, I'm going to say this.
Okay.
We love those things more than we love the elderly. We do. You can debate it all you want to. You can argue with me till the cows come home. I'm telling you now, their worth is nothing because we've allowed the social media to turn our minds towards everything but the elderly. And that's problematic right there.
I'm going to take it a step further with the comment you just mentioned. I think we love our material possessions so much, we'll put up a fight for something that gets stolen from us more than we'll put up a fight for an elder that can't defend themselves. I really believe that. Well,
here may be one answer to some of the solution, the problem right here. Here's the solution. This brother says, I'm an armed elder. So he's saying, okay, act foolish if you want to, see what you get. So again, Chaz, let's go on and let's talk now about, let's look at this aspect of the elders. We talk about all these things that have happened. Now let's look at this part. For those of you who say we don't ever give encouragement, we don't ever give application. Hell, this show is full of application, but a lot of us don't want to listen. Now watch this. Now this is when the comments should be popping off the page, because there's many ways we can help the elders. But one of the ways we can, for those who want to say, okay, you've talked about what we're not doing, what can we do? Here it is. We can first start to communicate much more with the elderly. We don't even talk to them, man. We see them as if they are an anathema. They're a curse. We don't speak to them. We're scared of them. I ain't going over there. So why don't we communicate much more with them?
I just told you earlier in the broadcast, because these things right here have our lives wrapped up. And like I told you in the previous broadcast, when we talk to our elderly, even if it's 2 minutes in our grocery store or when we're in the neighborhood, brother, you'll be so surprised at how happy they are to actually communicate with us, because they're not used to it. Mm-hmm. They're so used to being, tossed away. Speaking with an elder for 5 minutes, it's like you got to run away from them because they want to keep you there. And it's not nothing against them, but they want to keep you there all day because they like talking. So it's nothing wrong with that.
Here's something in line too. He says, visit them and let them lead the conversation. Don't go over there and try to tell them. See, this is another thing. Most of us think we know everything. We think we know everything. And it's like, we won't even give them a chance to talk. And then when we get done, we say, okay, I'll see you later. And then we tell everybody, we're visiting the elders.
Right.
And this is just it's crazy. We must not only communicate with them, but we must do this. Look out for the needs of our seniors. they have a lot of needs. And we don't even, a lot of them take medicine. A lot of us take medicine. We don't make sure that they're taking their medicine on time. We don't look at their health. We don't look at their daily activities. We are so selfish, man. We are so selfish as a society that we have kicked our elders and our seniors to the curb. Our children have done it as well. And a lot of us hide behind these cell phones, and we hide behind them because we know that we are not doing what we should do. And instead of being positive, what can I do to look out for their needs? We talk about them. We talk about them. We don't want to hear broadcasts that's challenging us. We don't want to hear broadcasts that's going to take us to another level. We want to hear music. We want to see sports. We want somebody shaking their bottom naked. We want to see somebody cursing somebody out. We want to see somebody fighting, getting knocked out. This is what we have an appetite for. We don't want to look out for the needs of our elders.
One thing I will comment about, brother, and I know you probably know this job. There's a job where a man or woman drives a van and they go to the neighborhood and they pick up our seniors. And even though they're getting paid for it, but to apply for that type of job tells you a lot. They pick these seniors up, they take them to like these facilities to do their exercises or to get their meds or to just get the information that they need. And I think that's excellent, brother, because we in the family, we know that we got elders that are probably needing meds. Just picking up the phone saying, you know what? Do you need your prescriptions filled? Or you know what?
You living in a fantasy world because we're if they call us and ask us, baby, you know I don't have a ride. Can you go get my medicine? We're going to do just what this beautiful person says. Don't disrespect the elders. We're going to say, I don't know why they calling me. Oh, I'm sorry, Miss So-and-so. I can't do it today. I'm just getting ready to go out. See, we're going to this is why we have the problems that we have, because a lot of us don't want to address that we are rotten. And I told you earlier, but I can't say it. We are some sorry son of a guns. Many of us are when it comes to the elderly. And a lot of us don't want to do these positive things. See, we always talk about where's the encouragement. Well, here is nothing but encouragement that we're giving. But the point of it is, a lot of us, we don't care enough for the elderly by doing something very special, which I'm putting on the screen now. When is it? Now I'll ask you this, and I feel sorry for myself. I actually feel sorry for myself because I'm going to ask you this, but this is tearing me up inside. We can show them that we care for them by doing something very special for them. So I'm challenging myself by asking myself this: when is the last time that I have done something very special for them? And the answer is, it's been a long time, man. It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
I feel bad because I've included that as well. Let me ask you this. The birthdays don't count. So don't sit up here and tell me, well, I gave my Uncle Chris some money for his birthday. That doesn't count because the birthday, everybody does things for the birthday. But like you said, minus the birthday, brother, I haven't done anything special for him in a while either. Shame on myself.
And I thank you for that transparency, because this particular screen should be lighting up with comments saying, brothers, I'm in that boat with y'all. But you see what a hypocrite will do. A hypocrite will look at this and say in their hearts, they're not talking to me. When in actuality, we're talking to you because you know you're not doing it. And I know I'm not doing it. And so we have become so rotten as a people because we can't think of anything that we can do for them. But let that man or that woman that we're in love with, let them tell us to go do something, and we're going to jump high as we can to try to make them feel good. And yet here are people who many of them don't have families, many of them don't have friends, and they don't have anything but us, and this is what we do to them. So we need to start showing them love by doing something very special for them. We also can do this. Excuse me. If they are living alone, now Chaz, I know you want to talk about this. We can assist them with their chores, cleaning up, washing dishes.
Ooh, brother.
I mean,
like you told me a few minutes ago, this is fantasy or make believe. Hell, we don't even want to do this in our own home.
Okay.
So what makes you think that we're going to take the time out of our day to go do it? And listen, it really would be a good thing to do that, to help an elder with their dishes or the vacuum or to wipe off the table or wipe off the countertop. But brother, we don't even listen. It's a fight for us to do this in our own home. So I know we're not going to have the patience to do that for our next door neighbor or our elder.
Yeah, it's really bad, man. It really is. And I guess we're just trying to show how most of us need to do a better job. But a lot of us can't take the truth. We talk about it, but we can't take the truth because we don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to see the truth. We don't want to learn the truth. And finally, we don't want to do the truth. So here's something else. If they are in a rehabilitation center or nursing home, we can visit them. We pass by nursing homes and rehabilitation centers every day. We go to the store, we go to the mall, we go to wherever, and we have gotten to the point where we don't even recognize them anymore. I mean, we are so self-centered, and I'm talking about all of us. We are so self-centered that there's one within probably a mile of all of us, and we still going to drive by them just to go somewhere else, but yet we're going to talk about honoring our ancestors. Especially in spirituality, honor the ancestors. Well, you won't even honor the ones that are alive today.
Brother, I got to slam myself real quick because there's a thought that just happened. I need to slam myself, okay? There was an older gentleman that I used to live next door with. Someone had knocked on my door and told me, this gentleman has failed. I thought that they were playing, but the guy really had failed. He was lying in his house, and he was just sprawled out. Brother, I was so angry that I had to do that. But when I got over to the house and I seen that man in his condition, brother, I felt bad. I mean, this man, I think he was trying to get something out of his kitchen and he slipped and fell. Now, he didn't need surgery or paramedics or anything like that. All he needed was a little hand up, and we got him up and got him on his couch. That was good. But brother, I'm asking angry for forgiveness for that, brother. That was low. That was low.
You ought to be, and this is true. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, because that's not something that we should be engaging in. And I know you've learned since then, because we all have done some things, and it's like we don't even visit them. And this is how hypocritical we are. We keep going to these places talking about all these gods and spirits and deities and all of these things, and yet here we are, won't even take 10 minutes out of a day to go into a rehabilitation center and sit down and just listen to them, or make friends with somebody, bring them something, call them. And this is why a lot of us don't like these kind of broadcasts, because these are the broadcasts that challenge all of us, you see, and you and I are included. See, we want broadcasts where these people can get up and tell them what they want to hear, make them feel good, take their money and lie to them, miseducate them. We don't want to do this, see? Right. And here's another thing. This is hard right here. We should assist them financially if we have the means.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why can't we go pay a bill? Their bills may not be as much, especially if they're living alone. Right. Why can't we just pay a bill for them at least every blue moon? Go ahead.
We're selfish, okay? To ask us to pay a bill for them, and like you said, most of their bills are small. I mean, they don't have that many bills, and plus some of them are like on a fixed income. So, and plus they don't have the bills as the average 29 and 30-year-old. But brother, we are so selfish. If they asked us, Brother Josiah or Brother Jahi, could you pay this $30 bill for me? Ooh. We would listen. We would lie to them and tell them, Sister Janie or Brother Nick, I don't have the cash. Come on, we got the money in our back pocket. We would lie to them, and then if something bad happened, we'll be, like you said, slinging snot at the funeral.
I'm gonna take it a step further. I'm gonna build on what you just said, because you're talking to all of us. But I'm gonna take it a step further. They don't have to be elders that are distant from us. In our own family, man.
Wow.
In our own family, we have grandparents and aunts and uncles who we know are not making it the way they used to. Do you think, even some of our mothers and fathers, do you think that we're going to say, we're going to make sure that that cable bill that they have is paid every month as a family now? That means you, me, our sisters, our brothers, our cousins, our nieces, our nephews. we're going to commit to paying that cable bill every month until that person leaves this place. Now, that's helping them. But you see, when I come to you and you come to me, you right. We don't lie. And the next thing you know, here we are at a mall buying some things or having things sent to a house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazon and all this stuff. So yeah, I'm taking shots, but this is what happens. This is how we are. This is how we really are. You know? But yeah, is this brother says blessing the elders blesses you. And you know, this is deep. I want to delve in, and I'll give you a shot, Chaz. But I want to delve into what he just said. He said, blessing the elders. I'll put it up again while I talk about it. Blessing the elders blesses you. That's profound, because what he's saying is this: when we do things for the elderly, that's going to bless our soul. See, a lot of people want something in return.
Yes.
He's not talking about that. He's talking about a spiritual nature within us that feels satisfied that we're able to do something to help somebody. And that's really interesting. Here's another queen says this: I had an injury recently and the doctor doesn't want me to drive. He said, my son works a graveyard shift, completes his shift, and jogs for his health. However, he has been going to my appointments and necessary errands, sleepy and all, but I'll shout out to I think that's you, Chaz. I think that's you. So yeah. I mean, that's a sacrifice. Yeah. It's a sacrifice.
Yes, and those graveyard shifts are no joke. And even today, brother, this is no secret. I'm firing away. I haven't had that much sleep, but it just goes to show you that sometimes you got to put yourself on the back burner, and sometimes you have to make that sacrifice because we need to be there to help people. And like Brother Ray just mentioned, it's not always about materialism. If we can't get anything back, we won't do it. And we got to snap out of that and say, you know what? We're not, even if we don't get any money for cutting this lady's yard, we should just do this regardless. And I appreciate that comment I just got.
And one of the sisters said earlier about don't disrespect the elders, but that cultural and gender disrespect, mocking them because of their age, mocking them because of their race, mocking them because of their physical condition, or telling jokes about their age, as you can see, that's my pet peeve. I hate it when someone talks about an elderly or an elder person and tease them about their age like they can't do what they used to do. That just drives me up the wall because it shows a pervasive ignorance.
Yeah,
you take that person talk about their gender or their age or their race or their condition, telling jokes about them, and we sit around and laugh about it.
Brother, and I know we winded down, and this is just me being a little bit silly, having humor here, but let me ask you this. There was an older movie by the name of Tyler Perry. He did this some years ago. I guess he was dating, or she was dating a man, and I guess he got old, and he was abusing, as they were young, it shows through the movie, he was abusing a woman, treating her like garbage. And listen, this is where we are in society, because I remember seeing this in the theater. As the elder got older, Tyler Perry was pushed this old lady down some steps. And listen, brother, the people in the theater were clapping and saying, yeah, get him. And it's like, this is my question. When I heard the people clapping and yelling obscenities and stuff at the TV, I mean at the movie cinema screen, that's how I know as a society we lost it. He shouldn't have been treating her like that. But the point is, why do you think he created that movie and was basically paying the man back for what he did?
Well, because a lot of us, man, being honest, a lot of us, what's wrong with us is our minds have been so tampered with by a system, a racist society, a system that have treated us like garbage, a system that have kicked us to the curb and kicked us in the teeth and kicked us in the you know what. And as we got older, we did not know how to deal with ourselves. And so as Brother Ray said, because we disrespect ourselves, we have no respect for those that are much older than us. And it's getting worse each generation, it appears. Wow. And it's just a matter of fact that a lot of us, we have some hearts, man, that are hearts of stone. We
Yes.
like to think our hearts are not, but a lot of us have hearts of stone, and we won't acknowledge the fact that we need to work on ourselves. And
Yeah.
so we hide behind cell phones. We don't research. We don't study. We're not around a group of people that's teaching. We're not being challenged. We're not being scrutinized. So we can do whatever we want to do. And the bottom line is we're sick. Many
Yeah.
of us are sick. Now, let me put this comment up real quick. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put I'm going to say an announcement, and then I'll put the last comment up because we're getting to that time. The comment is not the comment, but the announcement is this. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday, Kev and I on the John Kev Show, we will be at 639 Southwest WW White. We're going to be at Global Fitness. It's a fitness center. Gloria is the owner of the fitness center. And we're going to do a broadcast. It's going to be a live remote broadcast for 2 hours on the importance of fitness, how we are not taking care of ourselves. And so we want to encourage people to come out. Mm-hmm. You can work out that day. She's going to allow you to do it and won't charge. And she's going to also talk. We're going to be interviewing people there, people that are elderly that go to the gym and work out. And here, many of us we won't do it. But that's going to be not this Saturday, but next Saturday on the Ja and Kev Show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on the Ja and Kev Show. Please subscribe to us. But back to what we're talking about, Chaz. I want you to do this for me next week. If you can interview me, and I'll let you ask all the questions, you can write them out. But I want to talk about unity. Because, Chaz, I think that we have fooled ourselves when it comes to unity. You know, you can ask me, what is unity? Why is there no unity? Because a lot of us, we talk a good game, but we're so sick psychologically. We are not a part of a group. We're not a part of anything positive. We're not helping the children. We're not helping the adults. We're not helping the young adults. And so my question is, why do we keep talking about unity when there is some in pockets? But for the most part, there is no unity because I don't want to be around you. You don't want to be bothered with me.
That's a good question. I think we romanticize. Listen, the Martin Luther King, the Malcolm X movement, all that, to me, that was strong unity. That was really a time where people were kind of like really, really about something. But brother, like you just mentioned now, I think we're so, and I keep going back to the cell phones. We're so technology obsessed. We don't want to have anything to do with unity. We feel like it's a waste of time. And we also feel like since we're not getting paid for it, we don't want to do it. So it's sad, but unity is something that should be enforced, but a lot of us we just don't want it. We don't.
The last words I say about that unity, which will be next week. See, those who are watching it, they should set their alarm for it. See, just like they watch their football, basketball, baseball, golf, hockey, movies, musicals, you know, all these sitcoms. They should set their clock for this one because that's going to be a beautiful broadcast. And so what I'm trying to say is when there's no unity, it makes us selfish because I'm not accountable to you. See, because unity brings about accountability. Because if we are in a group together and you screw up or I screw up, we're going to challenge each other and say, what's going on? But see, when you're a lone stranger, or you're a lone dumb stranger, you're going to do what you want to do because nobody can tell you what to do. You're not accountable. You can care less. And that's our problem. And I want to bring that out next week. But this is something on the board I want us to talk about before we get out of here.
Sure.
And we're talking about now, when it's all said and done, our broadcast tonight is about how we have disrespected our elderly. Many of us have. If you're not disrespecting your elder, and if you're doing things for the seniors and all these things that we're saying you need to do, you're doing, we applaud you. Keep doing it. But I'm talking to the majority of us. Also, support adults only at Cash App, Big Brother Jahi. You see this screen? These things cost monthly. So support. But Chaz, family members can be more involved in the lives of their own elderly. That's for a start. Their aunts, their uncles, their cousins, their nieces and nephews that are older people that need assistance. Please talk about how it starts at home, and we can't save the world. It's got to start at home.
It starts at home with our parents teaching us these values. As we grow older and get older and mature, We should be doing these things without, like I said, expecting a payoff or expecting some kind of benefit down. As far as going forward with our family members being involved, sacrifice, even though you're not getting anything out of it. Listen, you're going to mean so much more to that person than you can think of, because here's the thing, that person could be lacking in that area for, like I said, a prescription or anything, just anything that they may need. You simply helping them, you'll be the talk of the town in a good way. You know, did you see Brother Chris? He went and got my prescription from CVS. That's a good man. Our elders would appreciate that, and we really need to start respecting them a little bit more.
Okay, I'm gonna let you sign off, and I'm gonna sign off. We're not gonna let you go, and then I sign off at all the music and all that rhetoric that I normally do. We're gonna sign off together, and then I'm going to, while I'm talking, I'm going to display something on the screen about what we do here at Adults Only. But we thank you, first of all, those who, now, I take my hat off to those who stood in for the whole time. Yes. Those who watched this broadcast for the whole time, I applaud you, because you have heart. Yeah. Even though this stuff that we're talking about may apply to you or not, to listen to this, you are grown. You are a mature person. You can take it. You can give it out. You can roll with the punches. And we thank you for doing all these things, because sometimes people don't thank you enough. But we definitely thank you for tuning in, because this is a hard show. Those broadcasts are easy. They're easy. All you do is listen. You don't comment. You don't do anything but just sit there and laugh and agree with people. Whereas this one, you can debate, you can come back and forth in love. And so this is why it's important. So Chaz, why don't you say something to the people? Just pour your heart out. You don't have to be 30 seconds, however long you want it to be. And then I'll say something, and then I'll put on the screen our little sign off, and then we'll get out of here. So again, Chaz, talk to the people about how we need to take care and not disrespect the elderly. Just speak what's on your heart.
Sure. For everybody that listened to the broadcast, my whole thing is, as far as with our elders, we should treat them, of course, with respect. Help them, even if that means it inconveniences you. Even if you don't get any money, you don't get any liquor or anything like that, just do it because that's a good thing to do. On top of it, we know that we're going to get older. We wouldn't want to be treated like that either. So we need to keep those two in mind. And last but not least, going forward, just do some simple things. Start off. Not everybody that you see at Walmart, but just somebody behind you, onto the side of you. Strike up a conversation and see how that'll help them. If you see an elder that is looking for something in the aisle and you see it, they can't find it, assist that elder with it. If they ask you for something, even if you're on your phone, say, you know what, Chris, I'll call you back. I got to help somebody with something. Just do the basic things like that. And last but not least, don't cuss at our elders. They're sensitive. Don't treat them like crap. And don't speed up to them on the highway because they're driving 20 miles an hour. If you do that and you see us an elder, just say, you know what, in your own head, apologize, because they can't help it. They're trying to do the best they can. So for everybody that watched this, I appreciate it, and just do the simple things. Assist them. Don't expect a payout, and just do it because we want these things done for us as we get older.
Well, a good queen says Shem Hotep, which means go in peace. And that's what we're going to do. So we do thank you for tuning into this broadcast, because you really make this broadcast what it is. And it is a broadcast that's about helping people, talking about issues that a lot of people don't like to talk about. And so you can hear me, but you can see this now. And this is just talking about how I'm the host, and then we have the song that we normally play. Chaz and I, we also do music as well. This produced by me, is sponsored by the Liberation Academy. And we like to thank all the beautiful souls for making this broadcast happen, because you guys have really helped us out a great deal. And we bring subject matter to you that a lot of people don't like to talk about. And a lot of us are afraid. We like to go to broadcast that's going to take up for us. We like to go to broadcast that's not going to challenge us. We like to go to broadcast that's going to make us feel good in our wrongfulness. We don't do that, because all of us are messed up. And what kind of person would you be? And what kind of person would I be if we allow our elderly to be treated the way they're treated and not even open our mouths about what's going on? So we love you all. We're going to let Brother Ray we're going to let Brother Ray have the last word. Because this brother, one day I got to get him on here so he can have split screen and he can talk, because he's a wonderful brother, very wise, a lot of insight. So here's the last words. Brother Ray says, I do. When I was young, the ones my age and younger, I used to check on a regular. The elders has always been my heaven.
Wow.
And Chaz, I cannot think of no other better way to end this broadcast by letting Brother Ray have the last profound words. So once again, Shem Hotep, thank you all. We love you. We'll see you next week. We'll be talking about unity. So please tell someone to watch this broadcast, because we're going to put it out there. We're going to challenge ourselves. But the bottom line is, it's all for our betterment as a people, so we can move further in this world that's filled with madness. So thank you once again. On behalf of Chaz, we'll see you next week, next Wednesday at 6 o'clock on Adults Only. Ankh Uja Seneb.
Thanks, everybody, for watching.